following message is being transmitted at the request of the Boundless PodTrap movie review and the guys of the BPT. What you are about to hear contains spoilers to movies. If you don't want to hear these spoilers, please disengage your listening device at this time. If you can't handle those with a possible differing view on a movie, you may also want to disengage your listening device at this time. Stay tuned for a movie review that only the guys at the Boundless PodTrap can give you.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
There are 12 good reasons to be afraid of the dark, and every one is a killer.
Can you name them off, 12 by?
No.
That didn't take long at all for your
Wow, bring home milk.
Oh boy.
It's kind of a drinking game for some people.
Yeah, they're
like, how long is it going to take until something...
You know, I gotta say this, though. We've went through probably 7-8 episodes in a row. That's generous. Like 2 or 3 episodes in a row where Justin hasn't fucked up the intro. So, I mean, good for him.
I beg to differ.
You guys always say that, but I can just easily edit it out.
That's what I'm saying. He
Right,
edits
but
that stuff
we
out.
know.
For what people listen to on here, it sounds amazing, but see, there it is again.
Welcome
Take
to the
another
Boundless
drink.
PodTrap movie review.
God dang.
We have a very special night. We have a very special movie. I am your host tonight, Lonnie. But we also have a very special guest host in studio tonight with us. We have Omaha's favorite son. We have world champion. We have amazing comic book shop owner. We have all-around good guy, owns more Hawaiian and flannel shirts than anyone else on this planet. We've got Dave Demarco. Dave, how are you?
I'm great. I don't know if I can live up to that effusive praise that you have just laid at me.
It's good to have some class in the studio for once.
Yes.
Now you were just reading the notes that he gave you, right, Lonnie? To introduce him?
Yeah, it was on a 20. It was great.
Do we have...
I'm slipping.
Are we splitting this, or is he giving us... Are you paying him, or is he paying you?
You get to sit next to him.
Yeah.
That's your payment.
You were holding his hand the whole time.
We're going to sit on laps here soon.
Right. It's probably this Clarity Lemon Lime CBD soda I'm drinking kicking in.
You just gave him a plug, so you're going to get a lifelong
Hell yeah.
supply.
I could sell them for $5 a can to all these smelly hippies here in Omaha.
Dang.
But with me as well, I've got Morrissey and Robert Smith's bastard son, Moody Jeremy Lubash in studio. How are you doing?
Great.
Great.
With that intro, I
Waiting
guess.
to hear mine.
Yeah. Let's hear his.
And I've got Opdio himself, Justin Milani.
Come on. I thought he was going to go with, like, default character again.
Yeah, create your own character, Justin
Generic
Milani.
man. All right. All right.
Well, let's get to know Dave a little bit before we get into this.
Yeah, Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself other than my grandiose intro. When I say you are a world champion, Dave, and to a lesser extent myself,
It's true.
won Comic Book Shop of the Universe in 2015, 14?
14.
14, yeah.
How many universes were they judging?
There's a multiverse, right?
All
That's
of
the whole
them.
thing with comic books. An infinite number.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty big deal. Yes, in 2014, my humble comic shop, where Lonnie was working at the time as our magic guru, we won a Will Eisner Spirit of Retailing, which is essentially the comic book version of like an Oscar. There's different categories like best single issue, best trade paperback, best cover art, all that kind of stuff. And there's a best comic shop, and it's judged worldwide. And ours was a unique situation where we shared the award with another shop in Melbourne, Australia, called All Star Comics. It doesn't happen very often. I think maybe
Damn
twice.
you, all-star. Come
Oh,
on.
no.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
Stu is a great guy. and-
Mitchell,
was Mitchell.
super great, and we are thrilled to share. Like, basically, if you're on the equator, it's a coin flip on what story should go. But if you're in the northern hemisphere, you come to Legend. If you're in the southern, you go to All Star. So that was really neat to share it with them because it was a whole unique thing. It only happened like maybe once or twice before, and out of the 3,000 some odd comic book stores worldwide, only 36 have Eisners. So it was neat to bring it to Omaha, and it was really fun. And the fact that we'd only been open for about 4 years when it happened, so it was like
some babies.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool to pull off. Other than that, I'm a super nerd. I like comic books. I like horror movies. I have 3 rescue dogs, a lovely wife named Michelle, and a giant poofy cat named Duncan. And that's pretty much my entire existence is comic shop, my animals, my wife, and with COVID, I've lost all sense of self. So I kind
of
of
that order.
Yeah,
she better not listen.
No. Hey, she pushed me. She is the one who made me open the shop. She said she wouldn't be with me anymore if I didn't. So
is there one location, Legends, or is there a couple?
No, just the one. We've batted around the idea of opening up a second, like in Lincoln or something. But there's comic book politics where I don't want to like step on the toes of stores that I like. And there's a store in Lincoln called Trade a Tape that I have been a fan of since I was younger, and so I don't want to. As long as they're around, I don't want to like encroach. So
we'll go ahead and give your shop a full plug.
Oh, okay. So Legend Comics and Coffee. We're at 5207 Leavenworth Street. We are a full-service coffee bar. We got a drive-through. We have all the comics, collectibles, all that sort of stuff. And I think we have one of the nicest, most knowledgeable staffs. And the whole point of coming to see us is to just be able to engage in this medium that we all love in comic books. So
I always liked their shop because it's like so clean. You kind of feel like a little distinguished too, just pulling out the long drawers. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's an interesting setup with the drawers. I like it.
Oh,
it
that
keeps
was
the dust off it first. I mean, like, yeah.
Yes. When I used to work at another shop where normally comic shops just have back issue bins that are open, and I was tasked with cleaning them out, and you'd be like gum and use Kleenex and things in there. So one of my things was I don't want back issues that are just open. I want people to be able to browse them, but it's a lot harder to like surreptitiously like cram a Kleenex in there if you have to open a drawer to do it. And I have not had clean a single Kleenex out of those
now,
drawers.
when you say use Kleenex, which way are we going?
No.
Is it a sad tissue or a happy tissue?
I mean, yeah, it's like a lazy tissue.
Well, I'm excited about this movie.
Yeah.
Let's do we have the synopsis for it?
Yeah.
So what is the movie?
Oh yeah.
So this movie.
Oh yeah, we better have him introduce it.
Yeah.
Let's have the guest take it away.
Yes,
In a grand way.
So I apologize. This movie on its face may not appear to be worthwhile, but there are things about it that I find important and I like to talk about. So the year is 1986. The movie Neon Maniacs. It is as though someone went to a Spirit Halloween store and bought them out and said, let's go.
Little synopsis about this movie. A group of teenagers in San Francisco discover a nest of homicidal monsters living in a tower of the Golden Gate Bridge. But when they try to tell the authorities, no one believes them.
That's the IMDb one, isn't it?
Yeah, straight off of IMDb.
One sentence.
Real bad. Real bad.
He'll have probably a better way to wording this. I mean, what would your synopsis
What would
be?
Dave Demarco's synopsis of Neon Maniacs be? Other than why?
Well, let's say, oh God, so like the elevator pitch. Okay, you've got the classic setup of a slasher film, a virgin, of like unrequited love, the kid who knows everything, right? The monster expert.
Like your Punky Brewster.
Well, yeah, by way of Tony Basil in this movie, I think. And then you have, like, we couldn't decide on what monster we wanted them to face, so we decided they should face all of them. But generic monsters, nothing that stands out, nothing with like a personality. Just what if a soldier was bad? You know, what if Native American was bad? I don't know. That's the movie makes some choices.
Those are like the prime, like the soldier one was more prime in like the end, but like the three, there's 12 of them, or supposed to be 12 of them.
Yeah, there's
There are
a
12.
lot.
But
more
like
than
you only
12,
see like the
yeah.
samurai, the Indian, and
Is
then
it like
the
a Wolfman?
leather
Is that-
daddy.
His name is Ape. So I think he's
Okay. So
a
he's-
cave.
I referred to him as Daniel Bryant the whole time.
Well,
what is he doing?
So there's Axe, there's Hangman, There's
You should just play
Samurai.
You should just play the trailer. It names them all off.
Ape, Archer, Axe, Decapitator, Doc, Hangman, Juice, Mohawk, Punk Biker, Samurai, Scavengers, Slasher, and Soldier.
How many times are you going to name Samurai in there?
It was just the first time.
And they uncredited 2 cyclopean lizard monsters called Scavengers.
Yep, and there was Doc.
Which you don't know that from the movie because I had to do some ancillary research on that for you.
I had Scavengers in there, so.
Oh, well, hooray.
Well, yeah, it says Scavengers, so I don't know.
There's
if those,
2 of
yeah.
them.
All right.
Yeah.
Those were very.
Lonnie's going to throw something
Yeah.
at you. Cut him off like 3 times.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay. It's okay. You got to let him talk now and then. He has to get it out of his system.
But then people stop listening.
So let's go round the horn a little bit before we get too deep into our thoughts about the movie. Give our reviews on this. I'm going to start with Justin because we got to start lowest to highest here. Justin,
Well, you don't know anything about Jeremy's take on it.
I have a feeling there is no Asian people and or fighting in this movie, so I feel like yours is probably going to be
Off the
lower.
charts, man. This is off the charts.
Off the charts. Let's hear it, bud. Let's hear it.
Because, man, for me, watching this, it had a strong opening, which for me also, it didn't reflect the rest of the movie. There are some pretty fun. Not that it doesn't take itself seriously. I observed this as a.
What about the movie Neon fucking Maniacs with that cover?
I observed this
Made
movie
you
as
think
like.
this movie was going to be serious.
I feel like knowing that they had like its hiccups during the production of this, I feel like showing up on the next day of set or so, the energies were totally different. They didn't even know what they were filming, or they probably filmed this all out of order. I don't think I'll watch this again. I didn't hate it. I definitely didn't like it.
I watched it 5 times.
But I'm going to need you. I'm going to let you guys try to sway my opinion. But for now, I'm going to put it as a 4.
That's higher than I thought he'd go.
That is.
I think
It's not
that's respectable for a movie like this.
not a
I think
0.5 like
IMD
your alpha dog.
IMD
Yeah,
puts this at a
0.5.
5.
Right
I don't know what Rotten Tomatoes is, but yeah.
I think it's like a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. Jeremy, go for it.
All right. So, this movie was definitely very cheesy, bad acting. The audio in it was terrible.
Oh my God.
The storyline, it was there. The special effects were not the greatest. With all that being said, this was everything I love in a 80s slasher film. It took me back to some of the earliest horror movies I remember watching when I was younger, and it made me feel good. And so with that being said, I did not care for the ending. And normally I do a lot of...
What ending?
Oh, exactly. Normally I do a lot of research, but with work being so busy, this time of year is the busiest time for me at work. I didn't get to do much research, and Lonnie kind of tuned me in on the reason why the ending was what it was is because they ran out of money, and we'll probably get into that here soon. But because of the ending, dropped it down a little bit, but I'm giving it an 8.
Dave, I know this movie is your baby, but let's hear it.
Okay, so I'd like to set up a scene just so to explain myself.
Okay.
So when I was young, my parents were very, very strict. They wouldn't let me listen to the radio because who knows what could corrupt me on the radio. And they certainly wouldn't let me watch horror movies. So I didn't have... I mean, I would have been 9 when this movie came out, so I wouldn't have been watching a lot of horror movies anyway. But I didn't really have any perspective of horror movies. So I saw this when I was spending the night at my friend Mike's house, and it came on TV at like 2 a.m, and I watched it, and it was just like, for my 9-year-old brain, I was like, this has like all the monsters. Like I got like an entire year's worth of horror movies in this one movie, and it had a character that has since become my favorite trope of all time, and that is in Paula, the person who like, it's the same with like Mark in Salem's Lot or the Frog Brothers in The Lost Boys. That was my very first time experiencing the kid who knows, like, because they're good at monsters and nerd stuff, that they can save the day, and they find like the monster's easily exploitable weakness and all that. And it just was like a great melange all coming together for me at 9 years old, where I was like, yeah, this is the best. I didn't understand, the movie, like, because it doesn't have an ending, so it makes it. I just thought I was too young and stupid to get it, but I know now that there's just actual story problems. But when I was 9, I would have given it a 10. So now that I'm 44, I give it a 9. So there you go.
So I'm going to tell a little bit of story how my movie watching process goes. So usually with every movie we do on the podcast is I'll watch it twice. I'll watch it once just to watch the movie and feel the movie, to be like, okay, genuinely feel how I feel this movie, to get an honest like review of the movie, and then I'll watch it again to take notes and feel it. I'm not shitting you guys when I say I watched this movie literally 5 times. I watched it today when I came into the studio because I had time to kill, because I fucking love this movie so much. Like Jeremy said, this is what you think of when you think of 80s slasher, cheese. Other than Doc, one of the Maniacs, there's literally some people you'll see 30, maybe 25, but 5 to 6 credits on everyone's IMDb. Yep. This is a movie of nobodies. The acting was generally so subpar and so either underacted or overacted, but it was to the point where it's so fun and so charming. And I keep looking at you and smiling because you said took themselves seriously. And there's the only thing that took itself seriously in this movie was the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, and
that was the best scene, one of the best scenes
that
in
was
this
like
movie.
A good percentage of the entire movie was 3 full songs.
And the thing about this movie is, and I read a lot of reviews and people are like, this movie's boring. It only had 3 good scenes in it. That's fucking 80s slasher. That's all you need. There's like 3 pivotal sections of a movie: the beginning, the climax, and the resolution. Like, you need 3 scenes to keep a movie going. And this movie had it. It had the beginning, it had the train scene, and it had the high school scene.
That train scene is
really
great.
The train scene was amazing.
I legitimately think that is like shades of like American Werewolf in London, like
right.
The running through the train, the whole thing, the desolateness of the.
And then everybody keeps on switching their position. Like, the guy's in the front, now the girl's in the front. Now,
right. And the fact that, and it all resolves with the train driver going, "No smoking on the train." And it's just a line that he probably ad-libbed, and they were like, yeah, fucking yeah.
On the bus, he said no smoking.
Oh, yeah. Where they rips off the arm. Yeah. It's just certain lines in the movie that, they were, yeah.
I give him props for wrestling a prosthetic.
Right? That's selling right there.
So let me guess, Lonnie, you're giving it a 10.
I'm giving it a 30.
on our real scale.
Oh, yeah.
So a 10?
100% 10 out of 10. Yeah, this movie, and we'll get into the things I would change. And I don't even know if I would change, but if I would, it would be, we'll get to it. But yeah, this movie was almost perfect.
So that gives us a BPT rating of 8.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's one of our higher ones.
That is.
Higher.
Seems all right.
Fucking Neon Maniacs higher rating.
Well, the crazy thing about this is like the majority of the killing takes place in that first scene.
Right.
And it's just like, because you're expecting more throughout the movie, and it's like, well, you're really not getting it. But
yeah,
I made towards your comment, Jeremy, like it didn't really have an ending. I feel like this movie could have ended anywhere, and you'd still have like the same feeling. Like, I love obscurity, but
this movie had it.
Yeah, I was trying to follow so much, and I understand like your position with that. Like, I'm probably going to be the one who kind of dogs this.
And you have every right to dog it. I recognize that completely.
When I watch movies, I think with anybody, I'm very situational. So when I watch movies, I was opening,
take a drink,
open for this, and then with its strong opening. So you start off with the fisherman, and then he comes and he sees like the skull in the door. And
strong opening. He finds a random fucking buffalo head with their headshots.
Well, for me, I was like, oh, the fisherman is being baited. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's the only thing I can pick out of this. But he's at the golden
Neon Maniacs. Justin finds a way to slide some philosophy into this movie.
Oh God.
But then that was my expectations, and I was like, I can't pick anything. And then I was finding myself, I'm like, I'm just picking out all the bad stuff. But then there is a twist, I guess, in how I was feeling about it. But yeah, that was just the opening, the strong opening, and then everything else just like obscured. I was like, I like obscurity, but like nothing is like making sense here. Like, I couldn't understand if it was like because after they kill everybody in that park, and I'm like, I don't get this. Like, and after you figure out that it's water that kind of kills them, I'm like, well, blood is like 90% water, and the backsplatter on that, like, what's going on with that? And they have beer, and
that's
like
impure water. Come on now. Vampires can't cross running water, but they drink blood all the time. No one ever complains about that.
It's like, did any of that get in your mouth? Yeah.
Man. Well, let's get into this movie a little bit. We've already talked about the beginning scene of the fisherman and the...
I would like to know where that's like the skull with the cards came from, because it's a weird little like, okay.
It
I
is.
guess. The thing about this movie that I love, and it boggles my mind when I watch movies like, like The Highlander, that somebody sat down and was like, I'm going to create a whole mythology that's just going to fuel this whole movie. Immortals, a perpetual sword fight, the Kurgan, all this stuff, the quickening. And the movie doesn't ever really explain it. It just is like, this is how it is.
Right.
To me, Neon Maniacs is like somebody had an idea for a monster movie, but with, I'm going to say depth, but they just didn't know how to realize the depth.
I can see
they
that.
clearly had, like, these monsters live inside a Golden Gate Bridge tower. Why are they coming out? Where did they come from? Apparently from like a dimensional ambulance, I guess.
Which didn't make sense. I mean, a high tide would kill them.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And yet somehow, but yeah, so, and the fact that they're all based on, just like weird, they're all anacronyms or whatever,
Right.
just like coming in, and there's something about it that's just so refreshing versus like, yeah, it's a guy with a knife. Like, because if you look at every 80s slasher movie I've seen hence, it's just like,
Hide your face, have a knife. Yeah.
right, yeah, the My Bloody Valentine, the Friday the 13th, all that. But this is like, no, we got a freaking robot. There's a goddamn robot walking around.
It's like little leather daddy. I'm like, come on.
Who gets his
gimp,
ass kicked, by the way.
He
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
That-
Like, he's
that guy does a good-
shitty fighter.
If that guy,
He's a horrible conductor too. I'm like, what are you doing? You're just pressing shit.
But yeah, so there's an attempt to do mythology. It's just executed poorly, and because there was a lot of turmoil and they ran out of money and had to come back and reshoot things and all that, and that that doesn't make the movie better. You have to judge it on what made it to the screen.
I do think they did a good job because I mean, some of the Maniacs were recast, and some 2, even 3 people filled the parts, and you can't even tell the difference that it's different people.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's a lot of shadows, maybe pretty decent prosthetics, but it's like even with going back to like the water analogy, I'm like, they all look greasy or wet, and like, are you dying? Like, you got to be hydrated
Are
to
you dying?
kill. And like, they have like the playing card. Oh, I don't know if there would be. This movie sets it up for merchandise to have playing cards and stuff.
Like
and I
glamour
love like the
they're
Toxic
glamour
Crusader
shots.
like playing cards and stuff. I used to have those, but I mean, they were more like tarot cards. They were larger. I'm like, but they're all like candid shots. They like head up. I'm like, you got.
I think secretly Justin loves this movie. I have not,
he just wants to.
I haven't even
that
seen
one
this much
shitty thing.
energy out of his own movies that he picks. He's pretty excited about this.
Did you see?
He said sway him.
Did you see that at one point there were to be 27 Maniacs? That is a film fact that
Really?
they had 27 and they had to cut it down to the 12.
Towards the end, I was like, who are like all of these? Because it did look a little bit more like 12.
Yeah.
I'm like, one of them probably has like a Klingon batleth. I mean, I don't even know. What is that?
They even in the trailer when my very favorite trailer voice, Percy Rodriguez.
Yes.
The best trailer voice of all time. He lists off 10 of them. He leaves out. He leaves out 2.
And that was a strong opening. I'm like, none of that follows. I feel like the writing did, as you said, like maybe they had like compared to like the lead actress Natalie had like a little amnesia. I'm like, your friends just died. And like, okay, I'll go to a movie with you.
Yeah.
It's like,
But nothing scary.
nothing scary.
So this movie was made for 1.5 million.
Yeah, not a big budget. Like if you think
that-
about
I
it,
mean, to me,
$1.5 million is a big budget.
For the 1980s, that was kind of a lot of money for where did that go? Like I don't know.
well, there was
filming in
I
filming
guess
in San
makeup
Francisco.
would probably
I think that I'm not a special effects expert, but I consider like compared this movie to like Pod People or one of those kind of like Mystery Science Theater fodder movies. I think it looks pretty good as far
for
as
what it was. Yeah.
you know,
absolutely.
It fits in its era for sure.
Yeah.
But I know they had like issues with like, they was it bought out or so? The company switched and they didn't give back. People who were part of the set stole a lot of the stuff, never came back. Some of the people who were, I guess one person in particular, I forget the name, but he has like his own little blog, life journal or whatever you want to call it, and pictures of on set. And yeah, I'm like, well, that's kind of fucked up. They weren't even going to reimburse all the stuff that you guys did have. They just took the money and ran with it. And
I think when the girl's filming the zombies or monsters or whatever, and the one falls in the puddle of water, and that's what she discovers. I think that took a lot of money. That was like, I think the best special effects throughout the whole movie.
And she didn't even get a good shot.
She didn't.
Man.
Well, because they can't be filmed or something. I don't know. They used cotton candy is what I read.
Really?
They made like plastic or whatever skeletons, and they packed cotton candy onto it so that in water it would dissolve.
That's
Practical.
what, you know, people give me shit because I hate CGI. I prefer practical effects, especially in horror movies. And that's why, because that is creative beyond belief. To even think of that, who thought of that? That they deserve an award. And maybe they did get an award for this movie. I don't know. I doubt it.
I don't think
but
so.
See,
Sadly.
I was completely confused with this movie because I'd never heard of it. And when we were trying to figure out where we could watch it, Nicolas Cage his name was dropped in this. And I'm like,
that was on me. I was thinking The Color of Space.
Yeah.
Oh, The Color Out of Space.
I think I dropped the name Nicolas Cage, and then me and him were kind of going back and forth, and he brought it back up and was like, well, I was thinking Mandy because it's also like a neon cover, and The Color of Space is also similar to that. And I was like, Nicolas Cage isn't in this, and this is back in '86.
I was so confused.
I was worried you thought it was the Neon Demon. That's the one that I could see.
with the other Fanning.
Yes.
And just the
That's
title
a great
alone.
movie, yeah.
I'm like, there was nothing neon about this 80s movie. There's not even the neon color or anything. I mean, like, what is the neon title for? Did it just sound cool back then? Or?
According to the director, it is to reference the fact that these are all like new. They're new kind of maniacs. Like they're just neon means new, not like the lights.
Right.
So I guess it should have been Neo Maniacs.
Neomaniacs, yeah.
But if you look onto its other titles, it was also called Evil Dead Warriors. So that was its potential other title.
Never would have went anywhere.
No. Because Neon Maniac's like, what's this about? That's
right.
The title's compelling. What does it mean? But the Bubblegum Crisis anime that I love so much. I don't understand. It's about robots.
Yeah. Well, like going back to like the park. So all these people just, you get like a blowjob decapitation. Yeah.
How would you not know, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the teeth might
that
clamp
must have
down.
been some
like,
good suction power.
And then it wasn't.
Or like terrible. Like she's really awful at it. So you're like, oh, this is a dead fish. And then when she's literally a dead fish, you're
that
like,
shot though.
Improvement.
So after they do the decapitation, it shows like
a little bit of hair fall.
Yeah. I'm like, where's the blood and why is it just like this little piece of hair? Where's the head? Where's the
Maybe it wasn't the head on her hair.
It's like, did he miss? It was his hair.
Was the dude?
Yeah, dark hair.
Was the
It didn't match
Was the dude going to town on himself when he got the foot on his face?
I think so.
Okay, I kind of thought so too.
He was just laying with his like.
See, I
thought he was
He
just
looked
drunk.
like he was gyrating quite a bit, but it was never implied if he was.
It was dirty
See,
feet.
I need to watch this movie again too to pick up on stuff like that.
You can see the corns on his feet.
Oh, this movie also introduces the concept of the final girl to me because what's her name, Stephanie, right? The
Natalie.
Natalie is a virgin and all that, and
For part of it.
right, and that's the whole thing is that it's what they should always do in any other slash movie. We hurry up and have sex with somebody so Michael Myers will leave
That's
you alone.
what I thought was going to happen, but they still kept on coming after her. I'm like,
Well, that's fair.
Every time they want to get rid of
They have
the
Donna
maniacs.
though. I assume Donna's a virgin.
Paula?
Paula. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The best part of the movie, Paul.
That
Paul-
percentage
I
is
agree
Donna.
with that. Paula was my
What's that?
favorite.
The
Only
actress's
one
name is
thing?
Donna that played Paula.
Okay.
Yes. I called her Paula Savini the entire time because her place was awesome.
Right.
That's like my dream room back in the day. But
Back in the day.
It's
I'm
not
like, you got these 2 TVs, you do all your little editing there, you got all these little monster masks and everything. I had a sit and spin.
So one of my favorite things about this movie, and I wrote it down, my favorite quote in this movie was between Donna and Cozy, the
Actress Paula. Or Paula, the actress Donna.
Yeah. Conversation is, did you hear that sick sound? Yeah, it was creepy. Probably your mom howling out her anti-sex warning.
I did like that one. She did have the best lines for me.
The
Like
whole
when
thing
she
with
was
the cop.
talking to like the cop and
Yeah.
like, and the pigeons. It's like, I like to press them between a book and
It's great.
at least Maniacs like chicken wings. So
My favorite scene was the train scene. I just thought
Yeah.
it was There's very few movies out there that when there's like a chase on where I'm like, oh my God, I get tense. And that really had me tense. I'm like, they had them right on their fucking heels the whole time. Like,
That I called it out too. I'm like, they just put, what was it? A little string or something around the doors. I'm like, the Indian has a spear. He can just stick it right to. Oh, okay, he's doing it. He's doing it.
Okay, he got it. Good on him.
there was one part though, because they were like on their heels that whole chase. And then all of a sudden there's like 50 feet between them. Like, how did that happen? So that was the only thing I did not like about.
They had a wave to signal for the door to open.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I mentioned too audio in this movie.
Oh my God, that was the worst thing.
I hate making movies myself.
I was gonna say,
Audio
as
is
we know, audio is hard
the
and
worst
expensive.
thing. But it was just like for a movie like this, I mean, you would have thought that it would have been passed a little bit better through inspection and whatnot. But it's like, yeah, there were times where like it's showing the close up of the guy and you can hear like a fan audibly going in the background. Then it cuts to her and it's not there. And it's like stuff like that.
And they were cleaning up like the gook. Yeah. The way.
Spunk.
Yeah, that's what I call gook. You ready for the gook? Yeah. But like when they were putting it in the bag, it sounded like chips. Like it's like.
It's gack. All right, that's that Nickelodeon gack.
Oh, I remember that stuff. Oh. Justin, we got to get audio of you saying, "You ready?
You ready for the gook?"
A clean one?
Yes.
You ready for the gook?
What's the technical term for when like somebody said something, but you have to go back and redo it, and it's like always a little off from what the actual sound was, like
doing it in post and
yeah, there's like a word like AVR or something.
Foley.
Foley is like sound effects, but like going back and shit.
Sorry,
dubbing it.
Yeah, because I know there's a bunch of times where like clearly it's very like obvious that somebody was saying something that they didn't say on.
Yeah.
Right. And that was like when she's calling out for Steven when they're in like the Battle of the Bands. It rings wrong.
Right.
Again, things that I never noticed when I was little because I didn't care.
And to the casual
I thought that was
viewer,
rude of her. She's like, "Oh my God, the Indian." I'm like, "That's an exchange student. You can't do that."
The thing is, the casual viewer of these things don't really pick up on things like that. Like I do because we make movies, so I don't know. But that just bothered me. That was the one thing. And then I thought too, is like, is it because it's on YouTube? Because that's where I was watching it. Maybe somebody uploaded it wrong.
I have it on Blu-ray, so it's still that way.
Okay.
Well, that was one thing watching it on YouTube. When it first started and it went to the skull with the headshots in it, I'm like, this is obviously fucked with. Like, someone put this scene in there. This can't be in the actual movie. And then I watched it again on Tubi.
Yes, Tubi.
And it was still in there. I'm like, all right, deal.
Good.
I went back to YouTube because we have YouTube Premium and there's no commercials. And there's a commercial every 45 seconds on Tubi.
God, yes, that's annoying.
So let's get to one of the biggest controversies in this movie.
Controversy.
Who won the Battle of the Bands? Was it the Outlaws or was it Jaded?
Due to their name, they were nothing outlawed about their little band.
Now I will say, Baby Lied. That song's been stuck in my head for days. Like, that song is fucking great.
Or what's the other one? Where it's
Let
like
me ruin your evening.
we won't
Yeah.
ever stop or can't get enough, and I got enough of them. I'm
That
like,
song
stop.
sucked. Like, that was bad.
The slow jam.
Yeah.
That song was terrible.
It's a battle of the bands. Why are you
that song that
slow jamming?
sounded like it was for Natalie, and she's like, "Yep, taking them shit." I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, with that scene alone, like with the fire hose part, I was like, that's total bullshit. I've seen Little Rascals and Benny Hill and Three Stooges. I know what a fire hose.
She should have been lifted up and
Right.
splayed
What was she
around.
doing there? There's no adults there. Like 15 or how many? 15 kids were killed.
Well, and then how old was?
I didn't
Paula?
understand that because like when she was talking
She
to her
was
friend,
in the high school.
I don't
so
think she
she's-
was though. Because she was talking to her friend, and her friend said, like, yeah, the Natalie, she goes to this school, and then she shows up at that school.
Yeah.
It's like, is that your school, or did you just skip whatever?
I guess she
Your
could be
parents-
like a middle schooler.
I mean, she's so little that I felt like it. Oh, she felt to me like she was like 13, 14, maybe a freshman, but I don't think she went to Natalie's school, honestly.
She was there a lot, and she went to the dance, and there were absolutely nobody checking tickets.
dressed as a Dracula.
This little Dracula.
She was like, "Mom, I'm putting on trying on my makeup." It's like you only have the teeth in.
Clearly, her parents didn't care what she did. Like they
Right.
were absentee parents. Like, just don't burn the house down.
Yeah.
They know her. She's not having sex.
Well, she is the most responsible one there.
It's
like
true.
without her, nobody would have
survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all dead.
They didn't believe her. They're like, water, huh? She's like, yeah, I fucking killed one.
Yeah, I didn't get that. They got, well, when the soldier shows. I've seen what happens when people bring guns to a concert.
Yeah, this movie is banned now. I mean, you can't.
Everything about this movie is terrible. Yeah.
Nope.
But no, back to my question. Jaded or The Outlaws? I'm 100% Jaden crushed.
You only got one song from Jaded,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That song.
but he's like
We've had enough? Fuck yeah.
like a wannabe
We've had enough!
Alice Cooper, just whipping a little thing. Ooh.
I love 80s music, but I'm not a fan of hair band 80 music. So.
Get out. Doors right there.
Yeah.
Swings both ways. Shut it on your way out.
Don't trip over the mic.
So yeah, I'm not. I'm going with what was the name of the other band?
The Outlaws?
The
Outlaws and Jaded.
Featuring
Okay.
Steven.
Yeah,
Steven.
that was
Steven.
that was more my 80s kind of music.
The song is in
didn't-
the trailer. They like that song enough to put it in the trailer.
I'm assuming because like all the popular or the hot guys died, like, and all the girls at the concert were swooning over Steven, but at the
Take a
time,
drink.
but at the time he
You're
was
drunk.
like the loser of the school or so.
Yeah, which
I'm like,
is
what happened
weird.
to his popularity in the next few days? I mean, he
You
just
really all the hot guys died. You're right.
Yeah.
They got to fill the vacuum.
Zero time for those vaginas to dry up. Just like, oh, one to the next.
Was he a Grubhub driver too? He was like
well, his
delivering-
family had a store,
A store,
so he was
yeah.
just a delivery dude from his.
Well, this is in. So when I moved to Los Angeles when I was in my 20s to go to film school, and I was shocked that you could have groceries delivered in like California. That was like the big thing for me. I was like, I get beer and smokes just brought to my house. This is incredible. And so yeah, so Steven is just one of those guys.
Yeah.
The pink dot guy.
And he was, you got to put these straight into the fridge. They're perishable. And she's just like, oh, yeah, do it. Put it in there.
And tile countertops? Who has tile countertops anymore? That was weird. I'm sorry.
Not in my child. My family owns a tile company, so everything in the house is tiled. The bed's tiled. Everything's tiled.
What? A tile bed? Ouch.
Everything is tiled.
Going back to like the concert, they bought all these as a solution. They bought all these water guns to hand out to people, but Natalie did not have one, and they were already squirting everybody ahead of time. But she had
Can't trust fucking kids.
she had a tactic that she used a few times in this. Like if she wanted to get rid of the maniacs, all she has to do is get wet. And she did it when she went swimming, and she did it when she fucked the dude in the science, losing her virginity in the science class.
Yep.
Like,
It's a
Oh, Steven.
I don't get that either. I don't get that either because like the cops were watching the school on the outside, and then once they heard gunshots, boom, all you see is them, closing in, making out and stuff, and implying that it's going to be sassy time.
Yes.
And then they're in the cops
Sassy.
interrogation.
I think the idea is
Yeah.
that when that happened, the maniacs are like, we're done.
So did they finish?
Damn it.
Yeah, I think that is the idea.
Yeah,
And then the cops come in.
They
and
broke in. They're like, damn it.
It's like, oh, they're doing the nasty.
she's lost to us now.
Well, I mean,
They won't be coming
it's
back. She
good
lost her
until he
virginity.
finishes.
I'm still getting over Justin calling it sassy time.
Sassy time.
Sassy time.
That's what I have to call it because I have kids now. So you want to do Cess? Okay.
Play Among Us.
Much
Us?
better.
Okay.
Daddy and mommy are
But
having sex.
in all realism, we've met his wife. It's like, can we please do sassy time? I'll be the little spoon.
Take it out. Take it out.
Take it out, please. I'll let you lift me a couple times afterwards.
Oh shit.
Your
Yeah,
wife
so-
is a scary woman.
She's okay. She's not as scary as these maniacs. Woo. Leather daddy.
We said this.
Crystal.
We said this earlier. Doc, the only person really in this film
He was my favorite
with
maniac.
film credit. He was the Wishmaster.
Yep.
From that, he has over 100 and some film credits.
He was on Lost.
He was on. Yeah.
He was the main terrorist in the movie Toy Soldiers with
Oh,
Sean Astin, which I actually legitimately love still.
I do like that movie.
The
The doc was my favorite. And the security guard that he killed with
he
like the
just-
3-inch eyebrows. I'm like, what is on his face? Looks like huge caterpillars.
But yeah, just goes and rips those ribs out.
He had like the most like through line of his maniacness, other than like Hangman, right? Because Hangman actually hanged a guy.
Yeah.
Everyone else like Archer, he shot a dude with an arrow, but that also his arrows.
Shot a football.
He looks like a medieval archer, but his arrows all were like what I would shoot
Like
at camp.
Elven.
Well, they had like the plastic feather.
Oh.
They were like camp arrows.
Yeah.
They
like,
were.
like
Safety first.
Like 1985 deer hunting arrows. that-
Yeah, even though he looked like he was from
Yeah.
medieval times.
The bus when she slammed the bus window, were bus windows that sharp back in the day?
No, they were just that weak.
Or was he sweating up something that was just ripping his arm off?
That's maybe they are made out of ectoplasm, or again, it's like a mythology that isn't there because
There was a theory I was hearing about, like it's kind of like a combination of like maybe Gremlins and Ghostbusters. Like the Maniacs are actually ghosts. They just because they come back after a
they
while.
regenerate or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they come into like a goo or gook, and then
How does it go?
yeah, and then they go back into they never lock their door. It's always open. And anybody that last scene where they open the door and check like just the entryway, and then everybody leaves, and then the chief comes back in and explores a little bit more and sees, I'm assuming it's the photo booth because the lights are on and that's where they make their candids.
They got their Photoshop going and everything.
How I wanted this movie to end, I think would have been too much. Like everybody leave and the chief goes in and opens that door and he like drops a bag of gook and he's like, "There's your kid back," and like he knew him the whole time.
Or he was the 13th maniac chief.
Yeah,
and he's like
takes
an
his
evil
face off.
Yeah,
and
he's like a
like,
zombie cop.
"My friend."
No, I think Justin should have had the bag of it. And he should have opened it and been like,
"You ready for the cook?" He starts smearing on him. He's like,
It's gonna be coming out of the fire hose. So-
he just opens it up and all the gook sprays on him. Oh man. Oh, this was a good one.
yeah,
Justin, you love this movie. Change your rating from a 4 to.
I can't. I gotta keep it at a 4.
I completely understand.
But he loves it.
I show this movie. I will have people over to the house.
There is a positive thing I do see about this. Like
You haven't said anything negative about it, though.
everything I've been saying is negative, isn't it? I don't understand this. Like the movie could have ended at any time.
What
like
do you
it's-
want? We don't understand a goddamn thing about this movie, but we're still watching it.
The lesson that I get from this movie is like, despite everybody's differences and culturally, ethnics and class and occupation, age, their genetical differences, or their particular handicap, if they got like a little hook or something like that. It's like none of it really matters. Like anybody from any group or pride or crew, they can all come together and celebrate the pastime of murdering horny teenagers and taking selfies.
That's
I
true.
like it.
So
That was
Glamour shots.
Now, I
I'm
show this movie
Axeman.
to anyone. Like, if I have people over for scary movies that have never been over to my house before, I usually will say, "Hey, let's watch Neon Maniacs," just because it sets the tone for anything else. Like, what am I do? Watch The Possession? If you've ever seen that movie, it's like, this is not a movie I want to watch with a bunch of friends drinking beer. Neon Maniacs, I think, is a perfect, like, if you look up at any time, something spooky is probably happening, and that's okay. If you're trying to pay attention to it, it's not that kind of movie, right?
Right.
It is designed.
It's just
to,
a fun movie.
yeah.
Right.
If you ideally you're making out, with some lady or something like that, or
you were in a band, right?
Yeah.
Or kind of had one. You were in a band.
I've been a lot. Yeah.
Steven is the lead singer of the band and he's single. What the fuck? That doesn't make sense.
Until he gets the balls to talk to Natalie.
he was his own worst enemy.
Kind of.
Right.
His friend was kind of coaching him. He's like, you got to ask her out. It's like, what are you doing in high school? You're a 40-year-old with like crow's feet.
I do like that scene though when he actually does go up and defend Natalie, and the one guy's like, "Oh right, Steven." Like his friend is being a bro. It's pretty nice.
And then I guess that's the other thing that I kind of noticed about like the symbology is like when she's kind of getting pushed around, the chick comes over and is like, "Where's my brother? You killed my brother," and then knocks like the milk out. And then when she's at home and like all the phone calls comes, she like knocks her own milk out. It's like she's crying over spilled milk.
Oh damn!
But that's the only thing.
He does this.
yeah.
You get used to it.
I love it. That's great.
You're all shocked by it. We're used to it. Like, yep.
Just waiting.
No, she just was angry, and that's how she expressed it by knocking a glass of milk off the counter.
You should see her house.
I don't
Milk
know.
fucking
I don't know
everywhere.
where he is. Stunk.
That's why they have a cow in the backyard. You didn't see that. That was cut out of the movie too.
She did look good in the bikini.
Yeah, they had to get that in there.
Yeah.
It's an 80s movie.
It's true. Was there boobs in the
Yes.
beginning
Yeah.
part?
Yeah, the first person that shows
Yeah.
boobs, he gets
During-
killed. The
during
black
the
guy,
blowjob
you kind of
scene.
assume the black guy gets killed because he came into like the car and was like reading the comics, and when they came back, he wasn't there. So assume he's dead.
Yeah.
You didn't see him at the end.
Yeah.
But they picked like the ugliest girl in the cast to be the one that showed her boobs.
She's probably the only one who would agree.
True.
How it goes.
They'll remember me.
Yeah, that's true.
The detective, like he calls this other guy, like at 2:00 in the morning, and
like,
pretty much like, "Are you gonna be there? I'll see you tomorrow." I was like, "Why are you calling?"
Just go back to bed.
I just wanted to hear your
Okay.
voice. I was thinking about you. What you wearing?
That where he's interrogating the kids, he's like, 1, you're telling me that these things live in the Golden Gate Bridge. 2, they killed 15 kids and a bunch of my men. 3, you kill them with water.
Hey, he's like, "You expect me to believe that?" It's like,
Well, 15 kids are dead, so you should believe something.
And Paula Savini, she could, she had video proof, but it didn't really work. Maybe it was just her shit was fucked up, but
Maybe
I like to think that it's that they are like vampires.
okay.
They're unfilmable or something like that.
you can just take it to a Radio Shack and adjust the tracking.
Right.
from someone who was a Radio Shack manager for a couple years, I don't do that shit. That's why they're out
Excuse
of
me,
business.
sir. I have this video
I
problem.
have this horror movie I need you to adjust for me.
Gets a phone call in 7 days, and they did have a lot of throwbacks to like Star stuff. Like, I mean, Paula was wearing her Aliens hat, and so was her friend.
Yeah.
And like she was eating C-3PO cereal, and
These are not things I've ever noticed.
Yeah, leave it to Justin.
I love it.
there.
No, this is great.
It's right there in plain sight.
I'm learning things.
What's his or her name? Dog. You named your dog Dog?
It's better than Cat.
I was thinking about naming him Cat, but
And then he lied straight to them because his dog's name was Elvis.
He's trying to be cool in front of the cool kids in the third base mobile.
I felt really bad for the biker guy, not the maniac biker, but the biker guy who was all by himself, just like, nobody wants to play with me. And then like the guy comes up there, like he didn't notice him. The guy with the chain comes up there. I guess he's the other biker, but then he just like whips him off of the bike.
His bike.
He's like, "Hey, can I help you?"
Can I help you, buddy?
I like when they come up to the two, like, you guys interested in the game?
Yeah.
Like, yes, the guy in the full archer costume with the bow and arrow is interested in playing fucking catch.
That's how cool these kids are, though. They're just like they don't want to hang out with Steven because Steven's clearly
he's a
gross.
loser.
Fuck Steven.
But any random melting person that comes up to him in the park at night, like at 11 o'clock, like, "Hey, you want hacky sack? What's up? Let's go."
Just that scene that it didn't make sense though, because hold on, I should probably stop saying that because but like, so they kill everybody, but Natalie's in the van, and then they're just like banging on the van, and then hand goes through the van, and then just seconds later, you hear like the thunder, and they're still banging. It's like, that's your cue to run, guys. Like,
Yes.
it's about to rain. But then the cops come up on the van. They should have seen these maniacs just exiting. It's like, who are those guys? Okay. And what did they say? Like, are you in trouble in here? Or they had
The
like a
van
cheese line.
was rocking, but now it is no longer.
Yeah.
And then
And then she's crying. It's like, oh, it's
Poor her.
all of her friends died on her. And
So the writer of this film, Mark Patrick Corducci, had one other decent writing credit to his name. He wrote Pumpkinhead, another one of those like so kind of bad it's good horror movies, not nearly to the level of Neon Maniacs, but Pumpkinhead kind of took itself a little too seriously. But after watching this, you can definitely see the Pumpkinhead inspiration.
the guy likes making up monsters. Because
He
again,
does.
he's like, I could tell a movie about like a spooky scarecrow. Yeah, Lance Henderson's can fight. No. Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead.
I don't know what Pumpkinhead, a new demon that we've never seen before. This guy just made him up out of whole cloth.
That's good.
That's where the money is. You make your Candymans, just like your crazy mythologied up characters. You're in.
Right. Other than that, yeah, the director of this directed one other movie.
Alligator.
I think the most other thing he had on his IMDb.
is that the one in the
credits-
pool? Alligator?
No, the alligator's one with Burt Reynolds. I believe.
What's the one I'm thinking of where there's like a alligator, crocodile, or whatever that's in a pool and the dude's trapped in there?
I don't. That one. There's that other Toby Hooper where it's like the dude that feeds people to the alligators, but that's not what you're thinking of. I'm sure.
No, this is like within like the last 5 years or so. I want to say it is.
Where a guy's trapped in a pool with an alligator. I remember there were two girls trapped in a pool, but there was no alligator.
It was like an empty pool.
That's the whole.
It just-
That's the whole movie. It's
yeah,
him
I want
trapped
to say
in-
it's pretty much Life of Pi, but an alligator.
I've not seen that one. There's a lot of movies where people are like. There's the one where they're trapped in the sauna. I want to say it's like 402 degrees or something like that. Just kids in the sauna, just slowly roasting.
That sucks.
Yeah, yeah. There's a bunch of that sucks. Trapped on a ski lift. Oh, that sucks.
Frozen was great.
Yeah, it was great.
Because I could
let
see
it go.
that could happen.
Let
Yeah.
it go.
That's the best part of those movies is seeing how are they going to get in this situation? What terrible twist of fate? You know, like it all started with open water. We're going to go swimming. Oh, 2 people are going to come back on, get their names checked off. Oh, they decide to go back in, but they don't adjust the list, and now you got 2 people that
Nobody know.
Man, see, I love movies like that. I come up with a movie like that, but it has to be real, like something that could really happen to you.
Why don't we just do it to somebody?
Because it's illegal. It's a felony.
Well, that's
do it to
just
somebody bad.
the next roundabout with games that we do. The loser will be the one that has to do whatever.
Let's just do movie trivia and we'll fucking have Justin
do it.
again.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I spanked him on one of them.
Did you?
one.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
It was yours. He didn't know Inception and
On
all that.
one question.
No, the whole thing. He got 1 point, and I got like what 6 or so.
Was it all about Inception?
No, it was like other things.
It was.
That's a side note about Justin. Fucking terrible when it comes to movie trivia.
What was the last
I
one?
find that actually hard to believe, given the limited.
Oh, believe it. If it's
Wow.
not Jackie Chan or
That's racialist.
what was
we all have our expertise.
What was the last one that we did where you picked music?
Movie
from
theme
it?
songs,
20
yeah.
of them. I got like 17 out of 20, and Justin got like 1.
Because they're all 80s and 90s
It was
theme
like, songs.
I look for the meaning behind
but
it.
the thing is like some of the songs were saying the name of the movie, and you. Were
I got
still-
all of those.
It's Space Jam.
I got all of
What the
those.
fuck is this one?
It was Mortal Kombat, and you're like Street Fighter.
Well, guys, what would we change about this movie if we had to go in and make an adjustment to this Oscar award winning?
Easy, the ending.
Yeah.
Have an ending.
Have
Because
an ending.
There was no ending.
They thought that they were going to be able to do. They were setting it up for like, oh, it'll be a crazy, awesome franchise. We've created a rich tapestry of characters. It's gonna be the whole thing. And then, of course, nothing happened.
I kind of wonder if the cop or the detective, when he got pulled into the van, does he now become a maniac?
That'd be fun.
That's kind of what I thought.
That'd be a neat twist.
It's like they have a soldier, they can use a detective, other authority figures.
And he comes out and he's like, he still remembers like the station of his
Yeah.
like his office, so he kind of goes back to the thing. And I think that's a compelling sequel to me.
See, we're in the day and age where everybody does remakes of everything, like classics. It's like this movie
and
was.
Jeremy's like, don't fucking touch it.
This movie was good, but this is a movie that
It was.
They could redo nowadays, and actually with a bigger budget and come up with an ending.
Yeah.
But instead, we're going to make another Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which Leatherface is my favorite horror villain, but I think they've done enough of those remakes.
There was that really
prequels.
bizarre that Michael Bay touched remake from 2016 ish.
With Rihanna?
Was it Rihanna in it?
Or is it with the battleships and stuff? Or?
Oh, with Battleship. No, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake where he like owned a pot farm. It was like Jason on a pot farm. That is how it was. I mean, it was like a terrible.
Monty, that sounds like something up your
Or
alley.
it's like the
Leatherface, like a Leatherface remake.
No. I'm sorry, not Texas. That was Friday the 13th. I apologize. Jessica Biel was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Yeah,
There's
there
a
were
whole
some
thing.
okay ones, but there's been so many shitty Texas Chainsaw remakes and like continuations and
Yep.
movies.
I don't know why, they feel the need to remake classics. Like, we're going to do a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. No, go back and find movies that had potential, but there's a movie that I saw a long time ago called Soul Survivor, and it's not the one with Elijah Dushku. It is a movie about a woman who's on a plane, and it crashes, and she's the only survivor. And then for the rest of the movie, weird things happen that keep trying to kill her, like a car gets put out of park and in neutral and rolls down the hill and almost hits her. It is exactly Final Destination.
I was gonna say they made that.
Yeah, except Soul Survivor came out in 1983, right? So it's a weird little, but it's like, this is just Final Destination, but Final Destination does it flashier.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't know if they intended it to be a remake, and it's just like they don't talk about it. But that's what I would like to see is like take Neon Maniacs, redo it. Have an actual through line. You can put in the person with exposition. They have the big book of Maniacs. Like, see, it's like 13 ghosts. You got.
They need an editor and stick with a production that sees it all the way through.
Yeah.
This could be a web series.
Rob
Neon
Zombie
Maniac.
directed.
The only thing that fixes this movie is a time machine and then like a briefcase of money from 1986.
Don't say that.
Right.
Don't say that. You can't. I mean, some of the people were talented afterwards, like Natalie's character. I mean, she was in like Basic Instinct and
Yes. I mean, in the sense that you can stop the production problems. Like you have the money to shore it up. Like nobody go home sick or do whatever. Just focus. So we can get through this, and then let's change the ending. So just show up like a beneficial producer, time producer,
Right.
and just come back.
with a badge.
This is the type of movie that I want to make someday. I want to make a cheesy 80s horror slasher movie, and that's my goal after we do these movies
These
back
ones.
here. Then we're
Are
going
those
to do
all in? Jeez.
There's a few of them that fell down during the podcast. These post-its behind Jeremy
that.
here.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there was a few lines in this movie. It was like, if you ever get caught, are you going to be like, you caught me? Like when Paula did that when the cop caught her, or like he's like, now we're cooking tonight. Did you say cooking? Cooking.
We're gonna really be cooking.
Cooking.
tonight.
We're cooking with this podcast.
do it
tonight.
again, Justin. You caught me.
Yeah. It was like, well, she's at the door, looking, and then she doesn't suspect the cop that's behind her. He grabs her shoulder, and she's like, you caught me. It's like,
Here's the thing with this movie is I think that because of the money and running out of money, they went with one take on a lot of these things.
Possibly.
And just
you're like, good, we got it.
mark it. Let's
I've
go.
been there before.
Did anyone else recognize the cop that Paula was getting into, getting into it with? Where she
The one who got killed.
No, the one riding the bicycle.
one riding
the one
the
when,
bike?
when she's riding the bike. He's riding her bike.
Right,
She's like,
okay.
"You're breaking my bike," and then she rides away and it's like oink oink.
Oink, oink. Yeah.
And he does like he's
This
gonna.
little quick draw
He
thing.
was. I forgot to look him up because when I watched it again, I was like, I know him from stuff. Like he's actually either that or I'm very racist. Just like
Probably. We'll go with that.
It was Sir Lawrence. It was
What was
Lawrence
his
Olivier.
name?
Well, I don't see. That's the thing. Is like
He doesn't have a name?
Cop number 3.
That's the thing. Like IMDb doesn't have very good character names. Was he Eugene?
Sure.
PR Paul?
P.R. Paul.
That's the name.
They don't have a picture for him, so.
There's no pic. There's a John Lafayette.
Oh,
but
actually, I think that is him, John Lafayette.
Is it?
It's the only black dude. Yeah, that's him.
Are you sure?
He was in Eddie Murphy, Dr. Dolittle. He was in Stir of Echoes.
Is he in Sneakers?
Sneakers? Let's see.
What year did that come out?
Sneakers came out in 90, 92.
Nope, I don't see anything.
Okay.
I
never
don't
mind.
think he's the cop. There was two black guys in this.
Was there?
movie, Justin? Yeah. I'm
This,
gonna.
this episode took a dark turn.
I'm sorry.
Categorizing black
I just really
people.
felt like I'd seen him in other things. He had one of those, just like he had a presence that was like he'd been on like a bunch of episodes of Deep Space Nine or something, that sort of thing.
Yeah, they really. I don't know if he's credited or not.
Oh, let's see. He was in Dark Man. He was in Prince of Darkness, Boys in the Hood.
Dark Man.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that's why I recognize him because he's the guy that Durant comes up to. And it's like point number 1, and he puts a cigar cutter on his finger and he cuts it off.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I make the decisions in this town. Point number 2, blah blah blah. Point number 3, I have 7 more points.
He hasn't done anything since.
It's that guy.
He hasn't done anything since 95. Well, probably because, he died, 2 years ago?
What a bring down.
Dark Man, The Spring, Mosquito,
All right, but that's
Indian
it.
Beats.
That's exactly why I know him. 'Cause-
Star Trek.
Hey, I did it. Was it Deep Space Nine or is this Next Generation?
Next Generation. He was
Okay, I was just off by a couple years.
In the episode of Code of Honor, 1987, he played Lutan.
Okay, Lutan. Well, I like him.
He was also in the A-Team.
The A-Team. That's If you ever want to do a
He
show
was,
about
he
80s
was
television,
he was the other black guy.
Black guy number 3.
Pity the fool.
So
Alright.
the ending is pretty much all that we all agree that we changed.
I would agree that
so
it needs to
abrupt.
have an ending.
I would like a little bit of backstory
Like,
on some of the maniacs.
Where it finished off at, the detective. Paula is pretty much the only person who kind of knows everything. Natalie and Steven hasn't experienced because they were busy getting down.
the cock.
Yeah. And he's like, "Are you ready for the gook?" Yeah, and he's swooning and stuff. But because the cops doesn't know. They thought they cleared this place, so they're just back to zero. So they're like, "Oh, this place is cleared. We don't have a detective anymore." So
they didn't expect an extra dimensional portal in the back of a van,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah,
like in Ghostbusters. So
Speaking of Paula, though, there's something that I consider, and that is that she knows everything, but she didn't just know it. Like, she's not that character that like you just go to and like. She actually worked for it.
She did a
Yeah.
You know, she did
trial
her-
and error.
her
She's
due
like,
diligence.
crucifix didn't work, garlic didn't work. She
Right.
threw water in a bucket that was right, squirt gun and all that.
She was right because she saw him melt in the puddle.
Yeah.
She didn't know. She knew that there were monsters. That's
She
what-
got lucky.
Yeah.
She
it's
came
true.
up with like 4 things, and then
She
she's like,
tried.
oh, shit.
She tried what the movies told her, and then she was like, "Well, I'll just use what I saw." And I think that I respect that.
What was she? Was it supposed to be holy water? Did she pray over, or was it just
I
about like
think-
water, like Gremlins? I mean,
I think it
Gremlins was
is-
before this, wasn't it?
Yes, 81. I think that's just the running thing of water that's moving. Like there are vampire mythos that if you took a vampire and put him into like a river, it would dissolve. Like it doesn't have to be holy water, just moving water in the parlance of monsterisms and things like weaknesses.
So having an ending, yes. The music, the music, the sound effects, and everything. Like everything was
Should have
inputted.
been Goblin.
I just watched Suspiria last night. That's funny.
Should have been Goblin. Everything between 1982 and 1990 should have been Goblin. Neon Maniacs.
Trolls too. All right. What else?
That's it.
I'm good with that.
Obviously, it's good. That movie had an 8. That was
Not because it wanted to.
No.
That movie had almost as good of ratings as Pulp Fiction.
Well, Pulp Fiction has its problems.
That was the second highest horror movie we've ever rated, next to The Evil Within
One Cut of the Dead.
and One Cut of the Dead.
That's
One
a
Cut
good
of the
movie.
Dead's fantastic.
Again, I don't want to give any grand illusions that this is like some sort of like freak show awesome masterpiece. It is not, but it is like a gem. Like things about it work that shouldn't work. Like it's objectively, it has a ton of problems. It's got all these, bad ending, bad this, bad that. And yet when it fires well. Like when it actually pulls things off, like the train scene and I think the park scene. And I just think it's like, for what it is, like it should have been much, much worse. There shouldn't have even been the maniac should have just looked bad, the doctor should have just been like wearing scrubs with blood on it, and, like going to a frat party. But no, they pulled something together despite all these disadvantages. And
There's certain creative elements that I was hoping for. Like they even did a dream sequence that is like, what's the point of that?
Right.
Where she was just trying to get. I'm like, you're a swimmer and you're trying to get out of. Oh, it's a dream. It's a dream. Okay.
That acid rain, though, could have been a real thing if you've ever
It was
been to
just blood rain, wasn't
San
it?
Francisco.
blood rain. Why the blood rain?
And then Daniel Bryan is out there just trying to swim everywhere. What are you doing?
Well, we all know. Yes,
Yes. Yeah. So Jeremy, you got anything in the barrel?
Yeah,
I
we're ready
do.
to make that go around the horn again.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the next rotation. What do you got?
Well, since it's going to be October.
Wait, no, turn that music. I got better closing music for us.
Okay.
Is it gonna work?
All right. So I'm going, since it's going to be released on October 11th, I'm going to do a horror movie. It's going to be a movie from 1987. It's one of the very first horror movies I remember watching that I loved. And it's, like I said, the 1987 movie, The Gate, starring Stephen Dorff, Krista Denton, Louis Tripp, Kelly Rowan. One of my Justin, you look confused.
I feel like I know this, and I think I really like it.
I'm sure you've seen it,
The
but
Gate
that
is
is
excellent. It's a good choice.
that is definitely, thank you. That is what we're going to be watching.
Nice. I picked mine today. I watched it today because you left your shutter up. And my pick for the next rotation, we're going to watch Straight Edge Kager.
Ooh, that's Justin's favorite.
It is so bad it's good.
We'll see.
Starring Danny Yen.
Danny Yen?
Danny Yen.
Donnie Yen's brother?
What do you haven't even picked yet, have you?
I was
This
thinking
is
about
my
doing like
favorite
a.
part of the rotation is where we get to pick our movies.
I was thinking about doing a kind of a drama in horror-esque. It's about like a vampire in
Twilight.
particular.
Rush
So it's
Hour?
gonna be no. It's a B-rated movie that could have been, if with a budget, would have been awesome.
That's your pick is B-rated.
What?
I pick all the best, but yeah, it's called Blood and Donuts.
All
Really
right.
awesome. I can't recall the actors off the top of my nogs, but it's really good. Really good. I
All
love
right.
it. It makes you cry every time.
Every time, just
so
like Sex with Justin. Anyway, Thank you so much for listening into this episode. Dave, thank you for coming and being part of this catastrophe with us.
I can see his gook.
His gook all over this room. Thank you for listening. By the way, if you want to check out Neon Maniacs, which I highly recommend you need to at least once, you're able to watch it on Tubi for free. You can watch it on YouTube for free.
You can watch it on YouTube, and you can fast forward a little bit if you're not feeling it after the first 10 minutes.
Or you can completely ignore what he just said and go on the ride of your life. It's like Splash Mountain. You just got to get a little wet.
But not if you're a Neon Maniac.
But not if you're a Neon Maniac. You will die. But don't be disappointed. There's not much neon in it besides the gook. But everyone have a great night. We are the Boundless PodTrap movie review. Stick around. In a couple of weeks, you'll get to hear the actual Boundless PodTrap. We don't know what's going to be on it, but it's going to be great.
Oh, yes.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This concludes our broadcast day. Click.